Yo, yo, yo. What is up, everybody? Let me know if audio and visuals are good. Vlasic. Let me know if my audio visual good, guys. We'll get chatting. It looks like we got some movement here right off the open, which is exciting. Awesome. How's everyone doing? How's everyone's weekend? What up, Chase? What up, Cable? Bisma. Fuck off. What the fuck? Fuck off. Alright. So, how's everyone's weekend doing? Everyone have a good weekend? Everyone ready to make some fucking money? Hopefully. So, last stream I was a little bit out of shorts because I was recording from my parents' house. I was home for Canadian Thanksgiving. So I apologize for that, but I'm back in the saddle now. Back oh, my screen is black. Oh, sorry about that. How about now? I'll have to look into that with Seek and see if that's something I can figure out and have it announce in advance that the stream is going down. I think perhaps if I set up like some sort of schedule or whatever, I can fix that. But yeah, I'll take a look and I'll see what I can do for you, man. Okay, cool. So we're good again. So ETH obviously is moving. So is Bitcoin. So what I'm going to talk about is just kind of what's happened in the last week and kind of what we talked about in the last stream, because I actually pointed out a long on both ETH and Bitcoin that would have played out in real time if you had followed. So we had a couple of key levels here on Ethereum. One was at 365. Okay. And the other was at 345. And as you can see, we had a perfect retest. Perfect. Off of that level. And so what I talked about in the last stream, and I've pulled it up here just so you can see, as I said, we're up into this resistance here, right? So we're up into this resistance. So this is exactly where the last stream was. On the 11th, right? So we are pushing up into that zone. Sorry, this is a different zone here. Where is it? That's Bitcoin. Go to Ethereum. Okay, so what is going on here? There we go. So yeah, we were looking at this on Ethereum. If you guys remember, right? We had this 12-hour block, right? Said, okay, we're pushing up into here. So this is the last stream right here. And I said what I want to see to get long is I want to see a pullback into that 365 level and then continuation. And I talked about, right, what did I talk about? I talked about a third test. So when we shorted here the first time, right, we wrote this down, we closed some. I wanted to see what happened in here, if we were going to have another leg down or if we weren't. And then what I said was looking potentially bullish, right, was this, right? No lower low, higher low here, right? Another higher low. So it failed to push through the lows. And then what we also had was already 2 tests here. And I said, I don't think we see another test hold, right? You can see that. We had one more test hold. And then we pushed right down. So I said, we're going to get one more move up. And then I said, a pullback into 365 is the long. So if you want to go watch, that's just last week's video. We talked about this exact setup. So when we failed to push lower, I got out of shorts. And then I looked to get long on a pullback here. And as you can see, we had an SFP here, right? We had a pullback right into our key SR. We had a pullback right into this order block here, right? So no reason why you guys should not have long this retest on Friday. Thursday, Friday. You had multiple days to get in here because we talked about this exact move happening. And then I said another push into here, and I don't expect this to hold. So I'm actually expecting, and Bitcoin is moving up. And if Bitcoin continues to push up and ETH continues to push up, I'm expecting further upside. So I'm not saying to long right now because what you do have to realize is we are coming into resistance, right? Why are all my fucking colors just jacked up always? Right, so we're breaking through this little level here, but we are still coming up into resistance. But what I see here is 1, 2, 3 tests of this level. And each test, right, the last 2 tests, right, have gotten weaker, right? So we had a big drive down. This last test, smaller drive down. So if we're going to go up, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't long here. So if you didn't long here, like I talked about in the last stream, right? So I said this exact situation, push up, pull back into here is the long, up into here. So you could actually close some of your long into here, right? Because this is resistance still. Or you wait and see what happens, right? You put your stop, right? Now that you're in the trade, where does your stop go? I would say probably below here, right? Below this area. Right around here. Do we like the arrows or do we prefer without the arrows? I don't know yet. But I would not get long now. If you got long at 365, right, you're already safe. I would not long now. We're too close to resistance, right? But if we can clear this level, right? If we can clear this level here. Again with the white. We can clear this level here. This is now your new long, right? You're getting long on this, some sort of bullish price action, right? And then we're going to go for the highs. That's your breakout long. If we now break back down below 365, you short. Okay, so unfortunately for me, hopefully that makes sense, right? So I laid out this exact scenario in the last video. A push up here, a pullback here is the long. Go watch the last video, and then I want to see continuation. So if you're not long here, wait for us to get above this level. Above this level, long your longs, we're going to the fucking moon. If we break back below, we should not, after this SFP and this reaction, we should not come back below 365. If we get back below 365, like if this just fully retraces, you're shorting this for further down, and we're going to take out these lows, okay? Simple, simple, simple. So if you're not already long, there was your long from last video. Here's your breakout play. If we retrace, you short the underside of 365. Super simple. You've got a key level given to you here. So now all you need to do is act on it when the time comes. What is going on with all these fucking... Okay? Does that make sense for everyone based on what I talked about last video? Is it Ethereum or is it Ethereum? Ethereum, ETH, or ETH, and Ethereum. I'm going to say it however the fuck I want. So does that make sense, guys, for the long laid out last video and how you get involved and how to get involved now? If you missed that original entry, right, we want to start trading essentially at the $400 level. Above there, breakout long. And so Bitcoin, the bugger, I originally got long here. Okay, I originally got long here. My stop was here. Okay, and I was targeting 11.9. And I posted this one on Twitter. This one's on Twitter. Right? So originally here, okay, with the loose stop at 11,180. Okay, I didn't like the action, so I took an L. Then I got back in. Once it swept this low, I got back in small with a tighter stop. So once it swept this low, I got back in with a tighter stop. Obviously, as you can see, it came out and stopped me out, and now it's moving. So it would make sense just from a Murphy's Law perspective that now is when we go up, because obviously I've been stopped out. But as you can see, if I would have stuck with my original setup and just been more patient, I'd still be in the trade. A shitty entry at that, but I mean a good entry now, but I could have got in much lower. But I was getting bullied about my risk reward. 3-1, just awful, right? So I mean, I should have left my stop looser, because I knew it shouldn't take out this low if it was going to go higher. And then I saw this, and I said, okay, maybe that was the stop run. Now we go higher, and as you can see, we just got massive fuckery, right? Multiple stabs down. Never took out what would have been my original stop. So I was long biased on Bitcoin up to 11.9, and if the stimulus comes through, we see a green day on equities. We can see a green day on equities here. I expect both Bitcoin and Ethereum to pump. So I was away most of last week for Thanksgiving here, so I didn't even take my own long here on Ethereum. But this was laid out in the last stream, and again, above here, your breakout longing. Back below here, we're falling down. Okay, is everyone on the same line or same page? I will take your guys' silence as approval that that you understand. What's up to all the new people joining? 60 of you. That's awesome. 60 people. Cool. All right. So pretty straightforward stuff. So does anyone have any questions about why that long setup was there, what my key levels are, anything at all about what I think is going on? Or should I just kind of talk about potential upside targets now if we are going to continue pushing higher? And just remember, if this fully fucking rejects here, right? This is the key level for Bitcoin right here. So if we just come up here and reject, you short Bitcoin here, down all the way down, like a motherfucker. Ideally, I want to see a move like above this high, right? That's what I want to see on Bitcoin, but we'll get into that in a bit. You guys are quiet. Okay, so I'll just keep talking. So pretty clear plan laid out on Ethereum, right? So I had this range as key. Once we broke out, you're buying the upper side of the range. We are coming into resistance, obviously, so be careful. I'm not telling you to long it right here. But again, if we clear this level, okay, if we clear this level and you get long here, stop goes maybe down here, or if there's some sort of low time frame entry. And so what do I mean by that? Right, so we're not out of the woods yet. But let's say we get some sort of low time frame set up here. And what do I mean by that? I mean something like, I don't know if I feel the dot. What app does everyone use where they draw on their screen with that little pencil? Does anyone know what that is? But let's assume we trade up here, right? So we come like this, we come up, right? What I want to see above this 400 handle, God, I hate this fucking, I hate my trading view skills. Okay, what I want to see is something like this. Okay, so we trade up, we're trading above here now. This is one of my go-to setups. So if we break the level, come back and retest. There's a few ways that I'm going to trade this, okay? Number one is like this. So we break the level, the high that we make, and I'll show you an example of this in hindsight just to give you an idea with actual price action in a second here, right? Wait, I don't enter here. I do not enter here. This is actually my risk. Once we make that higher high, this is low time frame based on a high time frame level, right? Once we make that higher high, any sort of pullback, obviously this is the ideal scenario. It comes back and it retests here, or it comes back and it retests what? The bullish order block that caused this move up, right? My stop goes below there. I'm buying here, and then I'm taking it, right? Another way that I would trade this, okay? We come above the level, we make a low, right? Then we do this. Okay. This is another one of my go-to setups here. And essentially this is a breaker that forms right here, right? So we take the level, the breaker forms, we rip the low, right? Trap some short sellers, etc. Boom, you buy the retest. Again, stop down here or stop at the edge of the breaker. Those are kind of two of my most bread and butter setups that happen all the fucking time in price. And you can use them, and they will appear over and over and over again. And you can master those too and literally won't need anything else. So where is an example in PA that I can show you of exactly that happening here? So here's one right here. So imagine 365 is this level here. We trade up, right? We break the level. Okay. Break the level. We push up. There's your break in market structure right here. Right? So now we've cleared the level. We've broken market structure. Now I'm looking to buy in here. Okay. Pull back into the bullish order block that caused the break in market structure. That is your long. Okay. So what I exactly explained up there with just the drawing, that's exactly what happened here. Now, in this instance, we went lower than the order block. So what could that mean? Well, if you entered immediately here, because we first tested the order block here. Okay, so let's say you entered immediately here and your stop was here. Well, you're getting stopped out. That's going to happen. Alternatively, the key level was 365. So you could say, okay, well, I want to wait for a retest of the key level. Previous high as well, right? That previous high. Or you get stopped, let's say, but then you see this, SFP. Well, now what? Now you just enter again. So if the idea is still valid here, right? So we came back, we retested. Once you see us hold the level and we start closing a bunch of swing failure patterns right at this low, you enter again and your stop goes below the SFP low. So there's a lot of different ways. Sorry, I just got let in my Uber Eats. So there's a little bit of discretion involved, right? It's not always going to be this clean, right? Because in this retest, right, you could have something like this. So there's a little bit of discretion involved, but that's the exact setup essentially that I just showed you that I want to see form up here, okay? Where's another example here? I want to show you the breaker one now. Okay. Right here. See if I zoom in, if it looks a little better. I'll check the chat in a moment. Yeah, okay. So we have two here. So key support level, I want to see us flip, right? To start getting bullish. Well, what do you see here? Move above the support level, okay? We come back and we retest what? A bullish order block, right? So that could be an entry. But the breaker entry happens here, okay? So once we clear the level, okay, now I'm bullish. What else did we clear? A bunch of highs. So market structure is bullish and we're above my key level. So I'm now looking for a long setup. And the breaker is right here, right? So we're trading down. Then what do we see? A low form, okay? We see an up move, rip the low. Okay, so when you see that happen and you're bullish, what you do is you mark that move, okay? That ripped the low. That up move ripped this low. Took out that low there. Son of a bitch. Then you wait. Price trades up. Okay, comes back, retests the breaker, and then it moves away. So that's another example of how you can get involved. And so you could see that exact same thing potentially form up here, right? We could see a move up, right? We could see a low form, another move up, and then if this low gets ripped, you mark out the up move that ripped the low, okay? And then once we trade back above that area, you buy the retest. So those are two of my main setups. I have about 3 or 4 setups that I use consistently. I just gave you 2 of them. So hopefully that makes sense to everyone. I feel like I'm just giving you guys all this sauce right now and people are just asking me random questions completely unrelated to what I'm talking about. Andre says, looking back now, do you consider it a mistake not sticking to your initial plan and stop? Absolutely. Generally, you want to stick to your initial trade idea. More often than not, when I tweak the idea, I fuck around with my stop, I fuck around with my TP, is when I get burned, when I get stopped out. So absolutely, if you have an idea, right, and you have enough conviction to put money behind it, you should not stray from that idea regardless of what Twitter says, regardless of what price does. My idea was not wrong until I got stopped out, but I closed it early. One of my biggest, I'm not going to say weakness, but one of the things I do still to this day as a trader that I shouldn't, this idea was not invalidated ever. Never got invalidated, yet I closed it early. That should never happen. If my idea is wrong here, why am I closing it before price gets there? That's the point of the stop. So the idea was never invalidated. I ended up closing for a small loss, re-entering with a tighter stop that didn't really make sense. I mean, it made sense in this context, but really I could have stuck there. And then I ended up getting stopped out. So better off to stick to your original idea. Your trade is not wrong until you get stopped out, right? So until then, stick with it. My idea never would have been invalidated, and I still would be in that long. Okay, so next question here. Need to watch the dollar too? So of course. So if we look at the dollar, of course I got some fucking bullshit happening. We talked about this in my metals with mainstream. So this is from literally Friday. So go watch my video on Friday. That's only 2 days ago. I talked about the dollar and I talked about this key level. Right? So if you go watch my metals with mainstream, I talked about two options on the dollar in terms of dictating long or short on gold and silver, and consequently on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it's this key level right here, right? So you can see we're rejecting off this level right now. So if we're going to be bullish on the dollar, right, which would be bearish on Ethereum, bearish on Bitcoin, it's got to do this, right? If the dollar comes up and does this, right, we're going to dump on Bitcoin and on Ethereum. If we now are trading down on the dollar, right, if this is the high, I talked about these being equal highs, right? So if this is the high and we come up, go like this, right, that's going to bode well for longs on Ethereum and on Bitcoin, right? So there's your key level of interest on the dollar to watch for this week. An SFP above, trade back below, long your longs, right? A move above and a hold, right? Probably get out of your longs, look to short. If we see this play out on the dollar, this is what I'm looking for on Ethereum as a short, okay? And on Bitcoin as well. If that plays out on the dollar, right, I'm looking to short Bitcoin down into here. And if the dollar continues to be weak, right, so maybe we see an SFP, whatever, but weakness here, I'm watching a long on Ethereum, like I said. Up here would be your breakout long, up into this area here, okay? So your breakout long, right, up into here. And on Bitcoin, I'm expecting a move, right, up into 11.9, potentially higher. So those are your key bias levels, right? 93.90 on the dollar is going to be key. So I want to see what happens early week on the dollar to add confluence to what I'm thinking on crypto. But right now, I'm not in an Ethereum long, unfortunately. I'm not in a Bitcoin long, unfortunately. But I've given you my plan. I will look to long Ethereum above here on dollar weakness and obviously a bullish setup. And I will look to short Ethereum on dollar strength and a breakdown below 365, trading this into here, and ultimately I think much lower if we do lose this 365 level. Bro, in one of your vids in June of 2018, you talk about ICT videos, which you had a compilation of in your Discord. How can I find these videos? They're all on ICT's YouTube. So go on ICT's YouTube. He has them all posted there. Forex Miss is a really good one. The Sniper series, the Precision Trading series, those are all great. They're all on his YouTube for free. And you can just stream them directly from the source. Before, he didn't have them all on YouTube. That's why I had them saved, but now they're all on YouTube. What is a legitimate reason to get out before you hit your TP or stop loss? So, great question. In my opinion, when you're learning to trade, Okay, so when you're first starting to trade, what I did is I would not exit the trade unless my TP or stop hit. And what this helped instill in me is discipline. Because too many times in this example that I just explained to you, I would end up cutting trades early that ended up working out. I would take a loss when I could have taken a win, all sorts of shit. So when you're learning, if you're new to trading, my suggestion would be to stay in the trade until either your TP or your stop loss is hit. The logic behind that is if you were confident enough to take the trade, put your stop in, put your TP in, why would there be any reason to exit it early? And if you're like, oh well, you know, it's underwater, but is it at your stop? No. Well then, why are you worried? And if you find yourself worried and you're in a trade and it's not going your way, but you're not stopped out yet and you're worried, or it's going your way and it's not at your TP yet, but you want to cash out, you got to ask yourself a few questions. Do you have too much size on? And is that why you're nervous? Are you getting greedy and you just see the number going up and you're like, oh, I want to lock in? Are you really confident in your idea? If you were super confident in your idea, why would you exit early? On both positive or negative, right? So you got to ask yourself those kinds of questions. And if you're freaking out because you have too much size on or because you weren't confident enough in your idea, well, you know, there's your problem. Now, as you get better at trading and as you get more comfortable, my suggestion is when you're learning, be as robotic as possible. And I think you should be as robotic as possible always. But when you're learning, be as objective and as robotic as possible. But when you get better, you're going to have more ability from a discretionary standpoint to fuck around with your trades, for lack of a better term, and make tweaks on the fly, right? So if I was paying attention here and wasn't spending time with family, as much as we took out my stop here, right? Every time we held this low. You can see that, right? We closed above it every time. So I could have just longed again, right? And put my stop below one of these lows. Or if we had closed, right? If we had closed a candle below here, if this filled in like this, right? And closed below, right? That's probably a sign that this is going to trade lower. So let's say you're in a long and price is going like this. So let's say you're long here, right? Your stop is here. As long as we keep making new highs, you got nothing to worry about, right? But if all of a sudden, let's say my TP is way up here, if all of a sudden we do one of these and we rip this low, that might be a sign that, hey, market structure shifting, I want to get out. When I was first learning, I stuck in it. But now I might say, okay, that's a shift in market structure and we're going to trade back down, right? So, or same thing if you're in a short, right? If you're in a short, as long as we're taking out lows, right, you're happy. But then all of a sudden we trade up. We have a huge candle like this. You might want to cut. We just made a higher high, right? And then maybe we're going to reverse. So there is a discretionary aspect that you know you'll get better at. Or let's say, you know, my entry is here. I mean, in all honesty, I wanted to see a move. I didn't really want to see all this dicking around, but I mean, that's how price action has been lately. So maybe price isn't doing exactly what you expect it to be doing. That's a reason why you might want to cut the trade. But when you're learning, at least when you're starting, I think you're better off sticking with it than trying to fuck around, because you're going to fuck up your trade, cut it early, leave money on the table, take money off the table too early, whatever you want to call it, more often than not, in my opinion, than over managing the trade. Less management, the better, in my opinion, especially when you're first starting. Khabib or Justin? I gotta say Khabib, man. I mean, the guy's an absolute animal, and he destroys everyone he fights. I would love to see him lose. I actually like Conor McGregor, so when Khabib just annihilated him, I was kind of sad. But I mean, it is what it is. So I would like to see Khabib lose, but I don't know if anyone can beat that guy. He fucking wrestled bears. Like, come on. Wasik, what do you think of that candle wicking the previous stops at 394 on ETH? Is it of any importance? So here's the bearish argument on Ethereum. Okay, this is the bearish argument. So 3-day breaker, right? That setup I showed you on the long side, this is just the reverse, right? High, higher high, right? Rip that. Back down below, you mark the area that rips the high, right? And then you sell the underside. Boom, that's exactly what you're seeing here. Higher high, mark the area that rips the high. Boom, you're selling the underside. So this is the bearish argument for Ethereum, right? That 3-day, you could barely see it, but that is a swing failure pattern like you just pointed out with Seek. So it just took out those highs. So I do think that's significant, absolutely. The only reason I'm not 100% confident in this turning around here is because this is the second test, right? So we are ready. The breaker works best like this. This, boom, right? The fact that we came up, tested it, failed to make a lower low, and are now testing it for a second time makes me less confident. It makes me think that we might just kind of consolidate here, right? And then push up. But what is this level here? This is that exact level that I gave you to look for the breakout long, right? Remember that 12-hour level? It's from right here. It's the same level. So it lines up pretty well, I think. I don't think you should short Ethereum here. I think if you shorted it here, or you shorted it up here, and your stop is above here, I think you sit in it and you wait. If we trade above this 395 level, right, which is exactly what I talked about as a long setup, up into here, right? You'll see if I zoom in, that lines up perfectly with that consolidation I was talking about, right? Right in here, right? So I think if you're short from up here, I think you wait. If we trade above 394, you cut it. If you're not in a trade right now, you wait for us to get above this level to get long. So exact same thing. So I mean, there is an argument to be made that this is still bearish. SFP here into the 3-day breaker. But, you know, so if this is bearish, it will not go above this high. Right? So again, what do we want to see? Well, you mark out that 365 level I gave you. We start trading below that. Boom, stop here. Target 290. Target these lows. So yes, it's valid. It's an SFP on the 3-day chart. I just want to wait and see. I'm not in a position right now. So really what I'm doing is I'm waiting for us to trade either above here or below here. Justin, sir. I don't know. It's Justin Gaethje or Gaethje, right? I don't know enough about him to really make an educated call there. How far do you look back on price log to start your week and start a trade? Doesn't matter. I mean, it's all relative to the time frame that you're trading, right? I mean, recency matters, right? Like, let's say you're trading gold, right? Let's say you're trading gold. Well, you could go all the way back here and say, okay, well, we're trading way up here, right? But you could go back to 2011. You could mark the previous all-time high, right? And then you can zoom into today's price action. Are you telling me that that's not a key level? Right? Breakdown, back above, right? Back down below. So to me, that's a super key level. That's from 9 years ago, right? So you can go way back, right? You can go on Bitcoin or Ethereum. Let's just use Bitcoin for now. You know, you can go on Bitcoin here and say, okay, well, I want to use this level. And then you can see today it's a key level, right? And then I can layer it with newer levels, right? And now I have a closer level layered over a higher level, right? That could be a short right there. So you can go back really far, you know, Price is going to respect those levels still, but recency is important, right? You don't want to just solely operate off those old levels. What you want to do is there's a bunch of different ways that you can mark up your key levels. What you want to do is find a way to find support and resistance that works for you, whatever time frames you like operating on. Mark out those levels, right? Watch price, and if price gets to your level and has a reaction, you've got a good level. And then the next step in your trading is you want to learn how to actually do business once we get to that level. It's all fine and dandy to be like, well, we got support here. Okay, but do you know actually how to get long in here? Do you know what you're looking for? Or you just say, hey, I got support here, right? You want to know, okay, well, once we get to that level, I'm going to dial into my low time frame, and I'm going to actually look for a setup, right? And it could be there. There's that breaker setup I've talked about. So we got that key level at 366. Let's put that here. Right, and then we got boom. So now I've got my key SR level, but now what am I looking for? I'm looking for that setup. There's your breaker, right? Up candle before the down move, took out this low, right? You're buying a retest. This one wicks down, but it doesn't ever take out this low. Right, that could be your setup, or whatever you're going to do, a bullish order block, however you're going to enter SFP. There's a bunch of ways you can enter, but there's really a few aspects to the trade. It's not just marking support resistance, right? It's not just saying, okay, you know, we're at that all-time high level on gold. It's okay, well, what's a setup to actually get into trade, right? And so here, there's your key SR level, right, from way back in 2011. Well, what's this, right? Here's a breakdown and a pullback into what? A bearish order block, right? That could be your setup. So you've got to have that setup that occurs at your key level. You need both pieces. You can't just mark up SR and then, you know, and then just randomly buy and sell it. You've got to see price action give you some inclination that you're going to get the reaction that you want once we get there. Yo, Sean GZZY from Twitter. What's going on, bro? How are you? All right. Anyone got any other questions? We're a little over our normal time, so I'm probably just gonna end it here. But anyone got any other questions? Anything like that? You're welcome, bro. It's what I'm here for. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate all tuning in. Check out the old videos. Exactly, bro. I go over these kind of tips and stuff. Multiple videos. So again, please, you know, give these videos a like, retweet them, share them, subscribe to the YouTube. Obviously, check out Prime XBT. They're the ones helping me out to put these on for you guys. I have a link in the description. So you can actually join with a deposit bonus up to 50%, which is awesome. You can trade obviously crypto, but you can also trade commodities with crypto. It's a great exchange. It's got a good UI. So shout out to them. And yeah, I'll be back again on Friday with the metals video and Sunday again with another crypto video. If you got any questions, hit me up, shoot me a DM, tag me in a post, likes, retweets, subscriptions, all appreciated. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Hope everyone has a great week. And let's make some money. All right, talk to y'all later.